really came alive for you in the second half there?
Just a lot of base game plan, plays that we put in, week out, and we just execute them at a high level. And that's something that we just got to do consistently from the first snap all the way to the last snap. And I think that's why we're able to move the ball.
I know you've had an emphasis on capitalizing on touchdowns, but that initial drive where you guys were operating at an efficient level, you're using your legs, making good decisions, how beneficial can that be for everybody to see that that's something that you guys can capitalize on in the future?
It's beneficial every time you get a drive like that to end with points, but we just got to end with touchdowns, not just settling for field goals. And it's a lot of little things on that drive that I wish I could have back along with some other players just to make the plays better, to not make it be as long of a drive, and then just get better on little things.
How do you feel like you've grown in the balance of being the gunslinger that you are and taking the shots that you want to take versus taking just what the defense gives you and maybe the smarter play at times?
It just depends on the time of the game, really, but also depends just thinking about just the whole offense, what type of drive it is, whether we're running it efficiently on first, second down, or whether we're throwing the ball good that drive. So trying to just not really be greedy, but be needy and take what the defense gives you, and just get the ball to the playmakers.
Do you feel like you've kind of consciously changed though, maybe from game one, and not like in a dramatic way, but just do you feel like the process is a little different in your mind now that you've done it 10 or 11 times?
Not really. I don't think so. I just think it's more of staying on schedule. I think I've been better and learning more about the protections and knowing where my outlet is at all times, whether I'm hot or not, but then just making it easier on the O-line.
Good to get Ellis back out here, and what are some things that stand out to you about him since he's been here?
Well, it's good to get him back out here from just the work ethic that he brings every day in and out of the building, but just the route runner that he is. He's an explosive guy, and just not having him last week, it set us back a little, but it's good to have him back.
Cam, in what ways can you guys use Sunday's performance offensively as a stepping stone for the rest of the season?
I just think we use it as motivation to win football games. The stats will never mean anything. The only stat that will always matter is win or losing, and we just got to do that week in and week out, so that's the only thing we're trying to get better at.
Yeah, that movement within the pocket, just like the feel, it seems like you may not see the defender coming, but you feel them coming. You're able to move within the pocket better. What is behind that?
Just stuff that you work all off season, with your quarterback coach, then here with the coaches here. It's something that I put an emphasis on myself of not putting my tackles in a bad situation to give up sacks, and then just knowing where I need to sit. I think just early in the year, I learned more just step up and sit. Don't really look to turn into a scramble drill as fast unless I have to.
McCoy and Nick Holtz said that one of the things that's really opened up for you last couple of weeks, is the willingness to take the run when it's there, in terms of, if there's an open lane, to take off and get 5 or 6 yards rather than try to wait for something to come open. Is that a decision you consciously made, or is it something that's just kind of happened?
It's really kind of both. I think most of it goes back to just the film that I watch, and just constantly seeing just how I think the rush is going to end, but how it ends up, actually being just watching other quarterbacks play the team. So it's a little bit of everything, but at the end of the day, it is all a feel, and it's just something that you got to be able to make the best decision.
Certainly been making strides here as the weeks have gone on. How much of that is just experience that you've gained along the way? How much maybe is it Mike and some things he's put in here over the last month, 6 weeks?
I think it's everybody. Starts with Mike, but especially Nick and Bo putting in good game plans week in and week out. Now it's just on myself and the other players to execute the game plan. So I think everyone's success that we're starting to see on offense is just a mix of everybody, the player and the coaching staff, all doing their job.
How important was it for you guys to finish drives with touchdowns, specifically from the last third quarter, halfway through in the fourth quarter as well, those couple of drives that you guys have?
It's important for us. And if we're being honest, that's why our record is what it is, because we're not scoring the ball. And the biggest things that we just got to harp on the little things that we have been the last couple of weeks, and not getting the mindset of just wanting to put points on the board, more just putting touchdowns on the board.
From your perspective, why has it been so hard for you?
You just got to think of it in the sense of you want the run versus a certain look. You might not get that look. And then the other guys on the other side of the ball are good as well. They know how to get off blocks. We know how to block and runs good. So it's good on good every time in the run game. But that's not the really biggest worry on me, because we maybe had a bad game rushing, but look at all the other good things we do rushing. So, that's something that we're not going to get away from. We just got to be better at.
Just in terms of the balance that can give you guys, so it's not as much on you in the past.
It's going to be able to help us extraordinary amount. I just think the simpler that, we gotten in the last couple of weeks has helped us. But now it's just all on the players to execute the run game plan and, end up helping with the pass game.
What have the vets and coaches told you about the importance of these divisional games compared to non-divisional games? And in the 4 you've played so far, do they feel different, or does it kind of just feel like the standard game?
No, every divisional game is different. Then the biggest games of the year, those are ones that matter the most when it's all said and done. And those are games that you are mandatory to win. So we playing a good team this week, and we're ready for them. We're gonna try to get a win.
Is that mandatory attitude something that was taught to you, or is that something you've just kind of learned?
It's both. You grow up watching, just the NFL. You play high school, college football. Every game to me is the same. I'm trying to win every game, no matter what conference they in, what division they in. The goal is to win.
Cam, I know your football's on your mind 24/7, but what did it mean for you to give back to the community, go out, spend some time with the team or the city that you're representing this week?
It meant a lot. Just to see, something small that you can do for somebody. And just to see the joy it brings them in this time of the year. Just to give them something that, that's truly going to benefit them. It's exciting for me and the other rookies to do that. We're going to continue to do it in the years to come.
Ken, did you get to watch any of Shador's first start?
Yep.
What do you think of?
I think it's real solid. Everybody talked just the highlight plays that they post, but I think what he did real well was just operate at a high level, and that's the biggest, I think, transition from a college quarterback to an NFL quarterback, just the operation in and out of huddle, being fast. And I think he did that extremely well. He's going to get better each and every week, so I'm excited to see him keep going.
Did you get to talk to him before or after the start, or did you guys stay in communication throughout the season?
No, I didn't talk to him before or after the start, but, hopefully, we'll get a chance to, play the next couple of weeks. It'll be a good game.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, today, Jeff, Zeitler, Hadi, and Tony will rest, and then the 2 other guys are still in the protocol. You good there? Okay.
The protocol is still Kendall Brooks, I guess, and Chateau.
Yeah, those two. Okay, start out with a very talented team. The Jaguars come in, obviously know a lot about them after spending the 3 years there. Obviously there's plenty of new players there, but we've got to go out there and take advantage of every opportunity again against a good football team. We talked the other day about what we need to do to improve moving forward, and it's consistently make the plays that present themselves. And so another great challenge on Sunday. So we got to go out there and play our best football to date. With that, I'll open it up to the question for this packed house.
Yeah. I guess Thanksgiving Day schedule, just make some slight tweaks during the week to allow players to visit with families while also getting work done.
Yeah, with Thanksgiving tomorrow and everything, we're going to stick to this schedule actually the rest of the year. Not just, tomorrow will be different as we move forward, but we will start today going out for the walkthrough and staying out to practice and not kind of splitting up like how we have. That's something I've done a number of years in the past. Other places I've been, I know they've done it here in the past couple of years also, but just a little change up at the end of the season and at the end of the day, give guys a little more time to get an extra treatment, things like that. So. But it's with the holiday season and everything, like tomorrow, the players will come in and they'll be done as soon as practice is over, and then we'll make up for the film time, the meeting time Friday morning. But just a way for the players to go home and spend time with their families, their loved ones. And, we got so much to be grateful for, playing the game and being in the NFL and doing what we do. But just to get home and spend time with your families on holidays is a great opportunity for them to do that. Because a lot of families, they come from out of town and do certain things that we don't get to do that very often during the year.
One of the rookies that hasn't maybe gotten as much notoriety as some of the others is Marcus Harris, but now he's starting to find a role as the nickel back. How do you feel like he's done since he's taken that job?
He's gotten better every week, and I think you see one of those early one of the early plays in the game there the other day when he had tight coverage there in the slot and had an opportunity to possibly get an interception there, and it was just the pattern recognition and responding a lot quicker. And I keep saying it, but it's experience. It's the reps for these young guys are invaluable because the more you play, the faster you react to things. You start pattern recognizing things a little quicker. The preparation part of it, and just understanding the system better. Because you're gonna. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but as a young player, and when you're learning in a new system, the key thing is you're going to make a mistake. Just don't make it twice. And I think that's what all these young players are doing, that they're learning from their mistakes and they're getting better each week. And you can see that really in all their play. All right, Adam. Hey, numbers are going up.
How much, when you play a division team for the first time, how much do you, when you scout them, do you look at what, say, the Texans or the Colts did against them, since everybody's familiar with each other? Is that something that's you look at and try to watch tendencies as far as game film?
We watch way too much film. I mean, it's so easy. A push of a button in today's game. You push a button, you need empty snaps. You get how many every year's history you want to get. So I think it's when you game plan, you look at everything. Whether it's depending on what the situation is it the whole season, is it the past 5 weeks? Everyone kind of has their own ways of doing things, but we watch so much film. I mean, you kind of look at everything, and are there explosive play? There's explosive tape reel. You look at those things. What have they been? Is there a common theme week to week? You go back and watch the coordinator somewhere else. When he was in Green Bay, you look at what they did there. There's certain things that kind of transfer. People exposed him here last year in Green Bay. Now you're here in Jacksonville. Here's some things.
Receivers kind of in and out of the lineup. How's Cam done kind of adjusting to everybody and building chemistry with those guys?
And that's the great thing about training camp and the off-season program. As you go through things and you rotate guys through, you get a lot of opportunities to work with the guys. And it's important now that the last couple of weeks with the change we've made with injuries and things like that that's one of the reasons why we changed the individual time way back a month plus now, of saying getting more throws with those guys. But they've got plenty of throws now at this point in time during the season. It's just really fine-tuning all the little details and, just week to week on the game plans, going over it and talking through in the meetings how you want certain routes to be run, certain voids to sit in. So it's really more of the one-on-one communications and getting as many reps you can in practice to get ready for Sundays.
How much can you build off of the red zone success from this past week? You always talked about finishing drives, and especially that halfway through the third quarter on.
Well, I think it's the number of times you get down there. That was one of the things, someone asked a couple weeks ago about, the production in the radio. We hadn't been down there enough. And then, you start getting down there more. You start having the success that we've had, and you got to be able to, it's critical that you finish drives with touchdowns. And I think, a couple of those plays down there we did a nice job with.
Mike, as close as this team has been these last 3 weeks, the drive to just try to break through and get a win, how strong is that hunger at this point for this team?
Well, there's a burning desire week in and week out to win. That's what it's all about. That's what these players, they work so hard, and that's the frustrating part when you go back, whether it's Sunday night watching a game or Monday you come in, watch the tape, and there's obviously the frustrations when you don't win those games, and you look at it and it's like you never know, like you always tell the guys too, you never know what the play is going to be that makes the difference. It could be in the first quarter, it could be in the second quarter, it could be the first drive of the second half to get a 2-score lead. Somewhere in there's plenty of plays that you may not make, and you always look back and say, God, if I just would have done, if there's a conversion on third down, fourth down, an opportunity to create a turnover, whether it's a dropped interception or you don't recover a fumble, a big block in the kicking game somewhere, especially with someone like Chim returning it. So you always look at those things, and we got to consistently do our jobs better for 60 minutes and, see what happens then when you play your best football for 60 minutes.
Speaking of Chim, do you guys go into every week now thinking like we have a pure advantage there, the special team, especially with him back there returning?
I think anytime he touches the ball in the kicking game, he's got an opportunity to take it to the house. And I think that's the great thing when you have a returner like him. it makes everyone want to do their jobs better because they understand if we just create a little crease for him and let him get out there in space, he's probably going to make the next guy miss.
Everything about a team in this position, whether it's fair or not, the discussion is about the importance of winning down the stretch for the players who are the future of the team versus people already thinking about draft pick and positioning. And obviously you guys aren't thinking about that, but what is it about actually getting wins and learning to win that's so important for young players in this league?
Well, I think every game you play in, you're going out to win, regardless of the record, regardless where it is. That's what players do. And that's what coaches, that's what organizations, that's what everybody's here. We're trying to win every game you play. No one's going out there trying to say this and that for these reasons. They bust their tail. I think, though, as you know, you look at teams every year that they get on this roll at the end of the season, and regardless of how you finish it and where it takes you, you're always trying to build that winning culture. And the way you feed off of winning and the feeling you have when you come in a locker room after a game, you come in Monday, it's a whole lot different after you win football games than when you lose. So everyone's trying to win. I think the players have done a phenomenal job, and it's not a lack of effort. We just got to do a better job and consistent. Like I keep saying, we got to consistently play at a high level for 60 minutes, and because these guys deserve to win. They really, truly do. They bust their tails week in and week out, but it's all about winning, and then building that winning culture, and winning week after week, and then you win one, then you try to stack them up and keep going to build that confidence moving forward.
Peter, obviously your Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award winner. What are some of the traits you like about him? What have you learned about him since you've been here?
Well, it's great to see someone like him win this award. When you look at all the candidates you possibly have on a roster, and just the way he works every day and what it means to play the game, the love for the game, the love for his teammates, his leadership, in the O-line room, the way he speaks up and just comes up every day and just does his job. All right, off to practice,
Okay, we'll
to the
see
new
you.
schedule.